How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Sight. This is a movie from 2008, directed by Adam Ahlbrandt, and stars Clayton Haske, Allison, Persaud, and Tony Luke Jr. Now, this movie was pretty much a random pull for me. I love when I go to used movie stores to dig around and find horror movies that I've never heard of. It's just always kind of fun. But that being said, a lot of times these super obscure horror movies can be a little rough around the edges, and this one definitely is. This was the director's first film, according to IMDb, and you can kind of tell that. I mean, not to be rude, but this is a very rough around the edges, low-budget indie film. But if you guys like that sort of indie film charm, that low-budget cheese, that small film honesty, you can kind of find that in here. And there are moments you can tell that they really did have passion for what they're making. Trying a new, different shot, not always working, but trying stuff, and, pulling out some kind of fun effects with the ghost. You could tell what they were going for, and you could see them trying. But yeah, this is kind of rough, We got really, old school wooden video game acting in here. Not to be mean, but a lot of the actors were pretty wooden in here, and the plot was, a little messy as well. I mean, there's moments of what's going on and why would the character do that, but there's also just an overall structure where this movie is supposed to be a Sixth Sense movie, but then it becomes kind of a Find the Girl, almost film noir wannabe movie without the film noir style, and it kind of loses track of the ghost and goes off on this mystery, and whatever. But there's a lot other than the acting and writing that doesn't work, Like I said, interesting shot choice, but it doesn't always work there too. Sometimes the shot is just off balance or just a weird, sloppy shot. And I noticed too that when your shots aren't super well balanced, that when you edit them together, that can kind of make cutting between shots even more jarring. Turns out, when you follow good balance and the rule of thirds, there'll be a little bit of a similarity between your shots that allows them to flow together better. But yeah, with the editing, some of it is choppy, some of it's jumping the line. There's some weird moments like build up to I'm going to shave my face, and then he touches his beard and we just cut to the next scene and he's shaved. Weird stuff like that. We're gonna put the camera on top of a taxi cab to show him traveling. Good idea, but we'll only show it for like a second. Not gonna let that vibe sink in. So yeah, there is just a lot of roughness around the edges for this movie. And again, I don't want to be too hard because it is a small indie film. It's a first project. It probably had no budget. And as someone who wants to make films himself, it is really interesting to see films like that and go, okay, how did other people solve these problems? And to, be able to see the wheels turning a bit, I thought I did take a bit away with this one. Without further ado, though, let's talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers. I do want to say my piece on a few plot points, but no major spoilers. But I want to go in and analyze some of this, talk about a few of the strange moments that didn't work. So yeah, we open up with a narrator. This is the early 2000s, and we're going to be kind of grungy. I can see ghosts, and it's so hard, and you don't know how hard it is. Okay, whatever. And then we get a scene where he's a young boy, and he goes, Daddy, I can see Mommy. And the dad's like, no, bam. Abusive father, okay. And then we cut to the present. And in the present, it's kind of this awkward scene that's like a setup for the whole movie, where he sees this ghost, and the ghost is like looking at this one lady, and he starts to say something and then backs off. and then the ghost is about to attack her, and he like dives at her like, get down. And so apparently ghosts can attack people, and that's sort of the thing, is this whole thing with the ghost is like your big hook, but it doesn't make much sense. So are the ghosts aggressive? He acts like he can see them every day. You think that would be much more of an action-heavy character if every day, like the Pink Panther's butler, is jumping out at you. I don't know about that. So I guess ghosts are sometimes aggressive, but maybe not always, and I'm guessing just to people who can see them, because otherwise people would get randomly attacked by things they couldn't see. I just don't know. But anyway, turns out she can see ghosts too, but kind of, and not as good as him, I guess. Yeah, they don't really analyze her, and it's like, I've hardly ever found someone with my powers before. Let me talk about myself. And it's like, whoa, let her talk. What's going on with her? But anyway, he talks to this girl, and that kind of turns into the framing mechanism of the movie. And yeah, it's a few flashbacks. Now, why do we have the flashback with the father? If we're going to go into a series of flashbacks, why not place it there? I don't know. But we get some weird flashbacks. It's like, did you ever know anyone else that could see ghosts? Yeah, I knew this kid when we were both in an asylum. And then you get this scene where they're on bunk beds, and there's a ghost there, and the kid on the top bunk, I guess because he sees the ghost, because they introduced he was psychic, reaches down for him, and the main character, as a little kid, just rips him out of the bunk bed, and he splats on the cement floor. And then we get a scene with a psychic medium that he goes to, I guess, to figure out his ghost thing, and the medium just gets possessed, and he's like, I gotta kill you now, and he just beats the heck out of the medium. Yeah, this guy just starts, he leads to a lot of people's death, and the movie just doesn't care super much about it. But yeah, deaths early on, deaths later, it's just kind of this weird thing in the movie. But whatever. The girl says, hey, you want to get to know me? Let's volunteer getting food to old people. And that's where we meet who I'm guessing is her manager, who is like super rough and says stay away from her. You know that stereotype about charity workers being gangsters, right? Like, for real, I thought there was going to be something with it being a front, but it's not. He's just a bad guy that works at a charity, which is a super weird pull. But later on, it's like, oh, he's my ex-boyfriend and he's still jealous. It's awkward, you know? But I will say, he gives food to this blind old woman, and he, like, comes into her house, and there's, like, this whole bit with a ghost in there, and whatever scene, but we get to come back to the old woman later, because she's kind of in the plot for some reason, and the ending of her scene is hilarious, unintentionally so. I did want to reference that. But where we get to the meat and bones of this movie is the girl says, I had a fight with the ex-boyfriend who I'm still working and maybe living with. I don't know. But I had a fight with him. Can I stay with you? And he's there sleeping on the couch. Cut to the ex-boyfriend over him with like a baseball bat, kicking the heck out of him. And then he wakes up in the hospital with a beard. Again, unintentionally hilarious. I don't know what's going on with this, but it turns into a mystery. You know, you get this whole thing where he's been asleep for 2 years, and they don't, like, go right up to the camera, you've been asleep for 2 years. They just go, oh, you're awake, and then casually later he mentions it's been 2 years. Whatever, and then it's like the whole movie is, that girl I knew from one night, I have to find her again. And of course it's like super vague and she's just disappeared off the face of the earth. But yeah, with how clunky and awkward, like, it does get to a good enough twist-ish at the ending, and of course it brings up like one thing that seems super unimportant, and the movie goes, no, it was about this the whole time. But yeah, it kind of becomes a bad film noir mystery, and the ghost elements are okay, a little bit cheesy, and the editing's kind of off, but the ghost elements are okay, but we're focusing on being a film noir story. So overall, I mean, it is really rough. Don't get me wrong, but it is a little bit of low-budget cheese. You could tell there was effort behind it. It just focused on the wrong things and just bad acting and weird, choppy editing and not doing 100% right with all the shots. But hey, doing what you can with what you got, it turned out interesting enough, you know, a good try, but not great by any means, but whatever. Okay for what it is. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. How about my ghost playlist if you want to see me talk about other ghost movies? Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.